Welcome to this week's episode of Science of Golf Performance. We are talking about some kettlebells, dumbbells, and we're going to have a lot of fun. But here with me today is, what's your name again?
Bobby.
Oh, yeah. Bobby. Yeah.
It's just the guy that sits by you in the office all day. That's okay.
Yeah, and I'm Alex. I'm on the other side of the office.
So why would a golfer or any athlete really, why would we use a kettlebell?
Well, I think the first thing is when someone comes in and they don't have a strong weightlifting background, the kettlebell is a great way to introduce some exercises. So Alex, I know I see you doing a lot of goblet squats with clients. It's a great way to hold a kettlebell kind of in front of your body, get some loading in the front rather than in the back. It's a great way to learn that squat pattern. So I think it's a great way to get people introduced to some of these movements, add a little bit of load so we can work on some strength, really get them comfortable with the moves before we do anything else.
Yeah, definitely. And from the coach's perspective, it's always nice to, instead of having them do a body weight squat where it's a little bit shaky, the weight more puts them into that position that they should be in without overloading them when they're not ready for the barbell on their back or anything. So from a coach's perspective, it's a nice tool to test movement, test basic strength.
I like to use it a lot too, particularly with people with like really low core levels of strength, history of back issue, back pain. Particularly like with juniors or even people in their 50s, 60s coming off of a bad back injury. Really just that front loading position really forces them to activate the core a lot more than, and I think in a more functional way. I guess maybe not a lot more, but in a more functional way than if we're just doing like a plank hold.
Right.
It's actually, can you control, create spinal stiffness, maintain it while you're dynamically moving? Yeah,
definitely. With our virtual clients that we have, a lot of them train out of their home. They have little home gyms, and not a lot of those include the squat rack like behind us. So dumbbell, kettlebells, great tools that you don't need much space for, but you can still get a lot out of that.
Absolutely. It's a great piece of equipment that you can do a lot of different moves with. So it's very useful in those home gym situations.
Yeah.
Now, why would someone use, what benefits does a kettlebell offer as opposed to like a dumbbell?
I think one thing from a rehab perspective is the kettlebell can add a little bit of an unstable element, which can be useful for shoulders and things like that. So you can check out our mini-series episode where I think we went over, a bottoms-up carry. So that's a great way. You can use 10 pounds, 15 pounds, and it can be a very challenging shoulder exercise to help someone get into that overhead position without pain, without discomfort, all that good stuff. Yeah.
It's also a useful tool, the kettlebell, for some power exercises. Dumbbell might be a little bit more challenging for, we don't have anyone doing like dumbbell snatches or any kind of power movement there. But, things like kettlebell swings are great, low, no axial loading there, but your basic average Joe can perform a kettlebell swing and get a lot of benefit from the power side of things with it.
Right. And I think what I like to bring up is a kettlebell doesn't offer enough load for it to really be a true power tool, like in isolation by itself. In most cases, in some cases it's enough load, but I think that's eventually at some point, if you're looking at performance at a high level, like barbells are going to come into the equation. Right. But I think it does offer a nice auxiliary, supplementary way to work on some speed, to really work on more of that speed strength side of the spectrum, as opposed to the other side of the continuum, where it's more of the how much force can you produce.
Yeah, agreed. I think for the beginner, maybe power more for the beginner, it might help to a certain extent. But you're right, when you get to a certain level of training, when your training age is a little higher, you might want to think about progressing that a little bit more.
Yeah, well, I love it for, go back to like currently have a girl coming off of a junior coming off of a back injury and working on, we're using the kettlebell in a deadlift format to work on, basically, can we control the lumbar pelvis? Can we get her to maintain stiffness in her spine while her legs are providing that movement to kind of separate or disassociate the two? And progressing to a kettlebell swing would be a great way for us to do that with adding of speed and velocity, which obviously is going to transfer from a golf swing standpoint. So I think there's great kind of diversity along the spectrum of what the kettlebell can offer, for sure.
I usually have the conversation, especially with our juniors, though, that this can be a great starting tool for you, but at some point we're going to have the conversation of if we need to add more strength, we're going to need to utilize something like a barbell, right? Because you can only hold so much weight in that goblet position or you don't walk around into a normal gym and find a 150-pound kettlebell, right? So they only have those ones with like the gorilla
They
faces
do have
on
that.
it.
Yeah.
Which we might need to get, but the usefulness once you get above a certain weight, it just isn't there. So we need to have a conversation. Hey, if you're serious about continuing with this progression, let's find a way to get a barbell in your hands once we master those movements.
Yeah.
You guys, any other thoughts on why you would have a golfer use a kettlebell?
There's tons of great uses for it. I think it certainly has a place, but like most things, it's a tool in the toolbox. It's going to have a time and a place for it. And, it's a useful thing to have, but it is not the only thing you can have. It's certainly not the only thing you want to have in your toolbox. Right?
Cool. Well, if you guys enjoyed the video, please share it with your friends. Definitely give it a like, and definitely use this as a reference if someone is saying, hey, we should do all kettlebell. We do only kettlebells. I think whenever you hear the word only in front of a program, I think you're selling yourself short. It's a great tool. It's a great asset for a lot of golfers in a lot of different situations. But I really appreciate you spending the time to see how the kettlebell can help you, and hopefully we'll see you in our next episode.